You can't tell, but we're all naked.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Loot. I'm your host Anthony, and got a new co-host, Monty. Go ahead and say hi, Monty.
How's it going?
we got Matt on vacation. We sent him off. We got sick of him for a while. But
and by vacation we mean he violated his parole.
we called him in. We sent him off for a while. We got a cool little show for you. We're gonna do a little retro stuff, retro edition. We're gonna do our top fives and their top retro games, and we're gonna recap some stuff that Monty wasn't here for, and we're gonna get his opinion on some of these things, see what he thinks. But how you doing?
Pretty good, man.
Are you excited about being on the podcast?
Kinda.
Is it strange?
It feels a little strange.
It is strange when you first start.
Yeah.
I guess I'm taking Matt's role because Matt.
Like, before I even got here, man, he told me, like, he feels like a lot of the stuff I've told him, I'm agreeing with you anyways. So I feel like this is just going to be a complete hate show.
Oh, it might be.
On some things.
Because I'm usually I'm calling out movies and their crap. Like, that's what we'll talk about after a while. We'll do a recap like Suicide Squad, X-Men Apocalypse, and stuff like that. All the stuff that was kind of crappy this year. Alright. You want to start out with... Oh, we're going to talk about the Reset Game store that we went to.
Yeah.
You tell me about this store.
For any listeners, like, around the Harrogate area in Tennessee, there's a Reset Game store where, like, you can buy older games. We went out there today. I actually purchased Mega Man X, which is a really cool game. Which I got into collecting retro games a while back. Actually, I have a pretty good collection of it now. So if there's any other collectors out there, it's a pretty good store to go to.
I didn't know really what to expect when I walked in that store, but I walked in and it was like the Angry Video Game Nerd times like a million. I was dang, there's a lot of video games in here.
Like, I was surprised at some of the stuff they had. Like, I was really debating buying Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to call them out on some of their stuff, but a lot of their stuff's overpriced.
It is, especially, like, I don't want to say it's overpriced because, I mean, you also got to think about shipping and handling and stuff getting to you. Yeah. But, I was looking at prices on eBay. You can get, like, Final Fantasy 3 for maybe $20, but it's untelling what kind of condition it is.
That's true.
Like, so when you buy online from that stuff, you're really taking a gamble. Like, once I got Star Ocean, the second story, for PlayStation. Well, the guy I bought it from on Amazon, he didn't ship it in a box. He shipped it in, like, the thinnest envelope you could get. And when it got to me, the case was actually cracked.
Oh, no.
But the discs were fine, so I didn't really complain too much. But from a collector's point of view, that's kind of aggravating.
Oh, yeah, because you need, like, the case and the box and all that stuff.
Yeah, like, to really be honest, the real reason why I didn't get Final Fantasy 3 is because I could tell somebody had marked on the thing and got their name on it.
Put their name on it, yeah.
You can probably find something to remove it. I just didn't feel like paying $50 for something with all your marks and stuff on it.
Have you ever ran across a game that had, like, it was from a rental store?
Yes.
And then it had like movie one or something like that on the back.
I actually the Beavis and Butthead game I used to have for Sega.
Oh really?
I pretty much got it from a rental store going out of business. I bought it from them, but it had the stickers and stuff on the back of it. Yeah.
Wait, was it Rockies?
Yeah.
Was it?
It was Rockies, man.
We got just very few rental stores around here. One of them was movie one, and one of them was Rockies.
Yeah.
Blockbuster ran them out of business, and then Redbox ran Blockbuster out of business.
Man, video stores are just extinct anymore, man. And Netflix has killed that.
It really has. There's one that I know of. It's down the road a little ways in Tazewell, Movie One. There's one store still around. They had two, and I guess they could only afford to have one.
I don't understand how a store like that survives anymore unless they're just preying off people with no internet connection, which I would be one of those people.
Well, I think they're staying alive with their tanning salon because they got a tanning booth in the back. I think that's pretty much what's keeping them in the business, I guess.
Probably.
But we didn't have a whole lot to say about Reset Games, did we?
Nah. That was just most of the little adventure we went on.
Yeah.
And the pizza we got is still in there.
Oh, yeah. We went on pizza rat. We could talk about this lady, too, that we seen at Little Caesars. She was sitting in there when we first got there, and she looked mad already.
Well, it wasn't that, man. She was just in there, and I was standing there, and Well, I was standing there and I was just looking around and nobody was like coming up to talk to me, like be like, I have an order. And I looked at them, I was like, hey, have you guys ordered? And she was like, oh, honey, hi, this guy ain't ordered, hi. And I'm just standing there like, thanks. I'm sure they really appreciate that. And the lady walked around, took my order and stuff like that, and swapped the card. She told me it'd be 10 minutes. We went over the reset games. We come back, and that lady's still there, right?
Yeah.
She walks back in. She's like, oh, honey, they already brought out your food. They offered it to me because they thought it was mine and stuff. I'm like, okay. Well, wait, it's like, the woman looks at me, the woman that took my order, and it was like I was just a brand new person to her. And she's like, can I take your order? I'm like, I had the deep dish pizza, cheese sticks, and yada, 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 but she was trying to charge me again. I'm like, sweetheart, I already paid for it and had to show her my receipt and everything.
That's why you keep the receipts.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've worked fast food before. It's easy to let stuff slip your mind, but come on, really?
Maybe she was swigging a little bit in the back and forgot.
But the lady you're talking about, I think she was trying to get a job there.
Oh, was that what she was doing?
Yeah, but man, if she gets a job there, I'd be really surprised because she's been really irritating.
Was she?
Yeah.
I was like, man, this isn't hot and ready at all. I was sitting up there waiting on you.
Like, that's why I think nobody was up front, is because she wouldn't leave the front.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She just carried everybody in the back.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, I used to have people I would do that with at Taco Bell. Like, there was no helping this person because they were coming in here because they just daggone, man, wanted to make a mess.
Hey, right. We made like an ongoing joke about this because Monty, he's got a little bit of a potty mouth sometimes. And we're going to put like crazy sound effects every time he says a cuss word. That's another thing. We should talk about that before we get into the retro games.
Yeah.
What do you think about YouTube's new policy? Like, you can't be monetized, which means you can't get paid to make videos if you have like vulgar language, you have sexual jokes and stuff like that.
See, that's crap because look at Death Battle, Angry Video Game Nerd. Shoot, I can't think anything right off the top of my head, but I'm positive there's way more. I don't understand that policy. But I mean, this is the first I've heard of it, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a big thing on the Twitter. I think it was hashtag YouTube party over or something like that. Something crazy. But a lot of people were mad about it.
I mean, like, if that's true, that's probably affected at least the two names I've thrown out.
Oh, definitely Angry Video Game Nerd. I guarantee you got on his little list of videos.
But speaking of the Angry Video Game Nerd, how many more videos can he go? Don't get me wrong. There are a ton of bad video games. Yeah. But in terms of like getting into what we're going to get into later, the whole retro aspect of video gaming, which is pretty much what he's about. Yeah, I've never seen him play a bad game of anything like new generation.
I haven't either. I don't think.
I think I want to say PlayStation. I may have seen him play a PlayStation game once, but I'm not even sure on that.
Was it Independence Day? Was that one of?
I think so. I think it was Independence Day. That sounds about right.
I think he just done that because it's 4th of July.
But I know he's played the Sega Saturn and stuff like that. He's gone over a bunch of stuff, and I absolutely love watching his material.
You say Sega Saturn, all I can think about is Sagata, whatever his name was. He's just pushing the Sega Saturn down your throats.
Yeah. Which, if nobody's ever heard of, what is it? Sagata?
I can't think of his last name, but that's his first name.
Satagio Sagata. We can't even say it right, but just type in Death Battle on YouTube. Chuck Norris versus Satorio Sagata. I'm butchering that name horribly.
It's okay. But it is epic.
It is epic.
It is. That was pretty cool. But I want to watch those old video commercials of him.
Dude, but yeah, speaking of like the whole video game nerd thing, my favorite episode of his is probably the one where he reviews Friday the 13th. That was the first game as when I was a small child playing games that I ever rage quit.
Oh, really?
And still to this day, even as an adult, I hate that game with so much of a freaking passion.
I've never actually played it. I just got to see like AVG and do a review on it. But we are going to try something a little different, though. If you're watching this on YouTube and not listening like on iTunes or something like that, we are actually going to play like video, little video clips of the games that we're playing. Or that somebody else is playing. Yeah, talking about it, because we ain't playing them. I'm just stealing these off the internet. But yeah, that was a bad game.
Oh, yeah. But let's talk about some actual good games.
Okay.
Now, when I say my top 5, I don't mean these in any particular order. Mm-hmm. Other than my number one. My number one isn't changing.
Okay.
But I'll start at, like, let's say number 5.
Do you want to do it like me and Matt do it? Like you do your number 5, then I do my number 5.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Okay. But yours necessarily isn't like 1, 4, 5. They're
No.
we're 4, 5, and 3 and 2 and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
only my number one is my number one. The other ones I can't put in any particular order.
Okay.
I would have to say, my number 5 would have to be Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter for the regular Nintendo.
That's a good game.
It's a rare game. I actually got my hands on it, and considering how old it is, it's actually pretty fun, along with kind of challenging. They also made it for the Super Nintendo and the Sega. There was difference in versions. They pretty much, from what I understand, the fan base of those games say that Super Nintendo was the best one.
Yeah.
However, I'm putting the regular Nintendo one up there just because it's considered a rare game. When they were all put out, it had the least amount made, therefore it has the highest value.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, when you're talking retro games, like, you're looking for those rare gems, you know what I mean?
I forgot what we were talking about.
Number
no, Ninja
5,
Turtles.
man,
Okay,
number 5, yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm out there tonight. Okay, my number 5, I guess it's kind of the same way because I really didn't put them in any kind of specific order. But as always, I'm gonna have to throw Berserk out there for the Atari 2600.
Berserk? I've never even heard this.
I'll put it in there if you want to play it for a while. I only got one controller.
Oh man, we may have to try that.
But it's just you just walk around this little maze type deal, and you got these weird little creatures that's shooting at you, and they come to you, and you're just like this weird little character, and you're just shooting them. But the only reason I even picked that game is because I used to play that game in my basement when I was a kid.
Right.
Pitch black dark, just sitting there playing it with the old Atari sound effects in the background. It was fun. That was my fun little game.
I have to say, for anybody listening, we actually had a discussion yesterday about what would count as retro.
Oh yeah.
Anything PlayStation 2 and like Xbox, that generation and down, is what I consider retro gaming.
Yeah, and that's what we're going by with this list.
Yeah. So some people may disagree on that, but that was when we're given these lists. That's what our assumptions were.
Yeah, and that's our podcast too. So you
Yeah,
don't make the rules.
Yeah,
we make the rules.
Let's see here. For number 4, I'm gonna throw out Super Castlevania 4.
Super Castlevania 4.
Because I mean, that was the Castlevania game that just it was a masterpiece. You could literally, it was a fair challenge.
Yeah.
Because you could hit in all directions.
Yeah.
There wasn't any cheesy, cryptic Nintendo stuff like in Castlevania 2 where
you hunker down.
Yeah, you got to go hunker down next to the wall. What you got to use an item that I'm not sure if it's missable. I'm pretty sure it's missable, but because you have to go back and get it if you don't got it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there was none of that cryptic stuff. It was just a fair challenge, and it was actually really, really fun. And I can remember being like in elementary school, sitting there trying to play that game and beat it, getting to Dracula and just getting so mad because I didn't know that before you get to him, there's a little thing that the game creators had where you jump this staircase and you drop down, and when you hit this platform, you go over and you hug the wall for a couple seconds, and it drops a bunch of food and stuff, and it like heals you fully.
Oh man.
Yeah. So there's a little. I mean, I guess it did have a little cryptic thing there at the end, but the truth is if like you're really good, you don't need it.
Right. I mean, that's pretty cool. Is that the same one that if you hold in the whip button and then move the?
Yeah, and you can like wiggle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
It had some really good stages. Personally, for that game, the first stage when you're in the graveyard and you get to go in behind and forward of the fence, I can just remember being a kid and loving that. I mean, which also, like being little, I died a lot, so I saw it a lot.
Oh yeah.
And that was like, anybody can walk through and just beat everything down. It was just like the music, especially that intro song. It gets you pumped. So the first stage was always my favorite.
Okay. I haven't played it, to be honest with you.
Really?
I suck, yeah.
Oh, man, I'll have to bring that Super Nintendo over here and show you, man.
Okay, that'd be cool. We should do Let's Plays on it.
Dude, that would be cool.
We might as well.
Yeah, we might as well. I mean, we could do commentary over it.
Yeah. You know what's weird?
Yeah.
I forgot half the stuff I wrote down because I didn't actually write down this piece of paper what my top 5 was.
Yeah.
Let me think for 1 second. I can cut this out, too, if I had to. Okay. Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate definitely has to be one of my favorite retro games.
That was a crazy one. When it comes to those Mortal Kombat games, I always loved Mortal Kombat 2.
That was probably my very first mature game that I ever bought.
Huh.
Actually, I didn't get to buy it. I was at Walmart, and this is the first time I ever got asked too. That might not be my very first one because I had Mortal Kombat 1. But the lady behind the register, she said, "You're not old enough to buy this game." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You're gonna need an adult." I ran and grabbed my dad, and this is like an older generation type deal. And Dad just looked at her, and he was like, "What do you mean you can't buy this game?" And she said, "It's mature." And my dad, he just stood there for a second. He was like, "Just give him the game." Like he paid for it and everything. Then he played it with me. That was pretty cool.
And you said the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, right?
Yeah.
Could you get Smoke in his human form?
You know, I can't quite remember if you could or couldn't.
Because I remember there's one of them, I'm pretty sure it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, because the original Mortal Kombat 3, you could only get Cyber Smoke.
Oh. Maybe it was a Cyber Smoke.
Well, there's one of there might have been a cheat code that you put in you could change, because I remember you could get Human Smoke somehow. I mean, I could be wrong, but I remember playing as Human Smoke.
Oh, really?
It may have
You're
been.
probably right, because it's been so long since I played it.
But what I was going to ask is I couldn't remember whether or not he still copied Sub-Zero and Scorpion's moves, because remember you could secretly fight him in the second one.
Yeah, that's
When
right.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
And they did the same thing in the first Mortal Kombat with Reptile. He had Scorpion and Sub-Zero's moves.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they gave him his own set, which I distinctly, like, I know in the newer games, Smoke has his own set of moves. But I can't remember if Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, if he actually had that, what move set he had.
I don't remember.
I always cheesed it out and used noob.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Once I read his backstory and figured out that he was the original Sub-Zero, I was like, yeah, that's my character.
Yeah, because he died in, was it the first one or the second one?
The original Noob Saibot, if I remember right, I really don't want to make a claim.
It's okay, I make them all the time.
I just remember that he died and he comes back as Noob Saibot.
Okay.
He actually has an interesting backstory. But it'd be better just for someone to actually look that up before, maybe I butcher it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't claim to be right all the time. Even though we probably are. But that would be my number 4.
You know 4?
I don't even remember.
Let's see here. Number 3 for me, I would have to say probably Super Mario RPG.
See, I never got to play that one.
Now, it was a really fun game on the Super Nintendo.
Huh?
It was actually, I had been exposed to RPGs before, but I didn't really understand them because I was like younger. When I actually got it for Christmas, and I can remember sitting there and getting really frustrated because I didn't know what an RPG was.
Right.
But after I finally figured it out, I enjoyed that game so much. And the Mario elements are really cool. The characters were really cool. And
could you be Yoshi?
No, you could not. See, that's one thing I was disappointed with. You couldn't be Yoshi and you couldn't be Luigi.
Oh, really?
Luigi is nowhere to be found, and this is Mario's brother. And you're kind of like, what? Out of everybody in the Mario world, you leave out Luigi. And, like, I would have totally sacrificed. There's a character called Melon. He's a marshmallow. He's like a cloud person.
Yeah.
And Malon.
Okay, I know.
Or Mallow, or
yeah.
It's something like that. And I would have totally traded out that character for Luigi. I mean, but I guess they wanted to not give him, like, I mean, you could have gave him a different moveset or something, but I guess, I don't know. I guess they had problems. I don't know. Like, I'm not a game maker.
Well, Luigi was probably out filming Luigi's Mansion. Kitchen Coast.
Oh, God. I don't even want to get started on that game.
I never played it. There's a lot of games I've just not played. I talked about it, but I've never played them.
There's a lot of people that didn't play Ghost Mansion. You know why? Because it's not that good.
Really?
Yeah.
I never got to play it. Speaking of RPGs, my very first RPG was a Final Fantasy game. But it wasn't a good Final Fantasy game. It was like Final Fantasy, was it 13-2? Or something like that.
Oh, God. If that was your first Final Fantasy, I feel for you.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
I didn't jump on the Final Fantasy train there.
If you play any Final Fantasy at all, and this goes for anybody listening as well, don't jump on the bandwagon because all of these casual, like, I don't want to be mean, but like casual gaming has almost ruined things for hardcore gamers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The reason why, like, I say that is like Final Fantasy, before Final Fantasy X, they were all kind of like, you know, you get out in the world, you kind of free roam to an extent, which, to be kind of honest, like RPGs or JRPGs, unless you find certain ones, are pretty straightforward. But the cool thing is like some of them you could actually get lost on the map, find something cool. Yeah. Then Final Fantasy X came along and they went to an extremely linear pattern. And that, don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy X was good. I'll tell anybody to play 1 through 10. But after that, I never got to play the MMOs. But I've heard they're not that great. You might as well play World of Warcraft. But Final Fantasy 12 was a huge letdown for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played it. I literally had like a weekend when I first got it. So I didn't take it out. I literally just sat there and played it. I played it all the way down to the Tower of Bahamut, which from what I understand is the final destination. Yeah. Took it out and just never had the urge to put it back in. And I didn't even feel bad about it. And I'm one of those people that, like, when I play a game, I want to go through and 100% it. Yeah. It's just I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about anything. I think my favorite character was probably Franz, the bunny girl or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like,
I know that.
Yeah. Like, I thought she was cool. But other than that, I was like, I care nothing about these characters. And Final Fantasy 13 was a huge letdown for me. Like, I feel like
pretty bad.
Yeah, like people. What gets me though is like that was a lot of people's introduction to Final Fantasy. And they're like, "Oh, this is cool," and I'm sitting here like I paid $60 for a movie that literally I just run forward and I keep hitting auto battle. Now, don't get me wrong. You can do different stuff, and maybe there's one or two like super hidden fights that you actually have to be manual stuff. Yeah. But dude, I sat there and literally just hit X on auto battle until like chapter 11.
Seriously?
Yes. And I'm just like, oh my god, I can literally just grind out my levels and just run everything over auto battling. And don't get me wrong, most Final Fantasies you run through and you just attack and do whatnot. But I mean, the older ones make you feel like you're actually putting thought into it, besides just watching a $60 movie.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah. And how, like, and that thing got sequels. It was like, hey, here's a horrendous piece of garbage that all these people are like stoked about, and I couldn't understand why these people were stoked about this game. I'm like, have you ever played any Final Fantasy before this? And when you hear no, it's kind of like, oh, no. You need to go back and understand why not to support this.
So it's kind of like the Transformer movies.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay, we'll jump into my number 3, which is, drum roll please, Contra Hard Course.
Wait, what?
Contra Hard Course for Sega Genesis.
I don't think I've played the Contras before, but I didn't know Sega Genesis had one.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I only had a Sega Genesis growing up. I had Nintendo, and I did play the original Contra, which was fun, but I wanted the next generation one, and Contra Hard Course was it. Which, it was a fun game, because I think you had 4 characters you can pick between. One was a girl, one was like a little bitty robot guy, one was like a big buff guy, I think. Yeah. And then there's just like the regular guy that was probably straight out of the original Contra, but
yeah.
Of course, you're fighting aliens in it. It was fun. It was just fun. I mean, you just have to play it to really.
The Contra game. The Contra game on Super Nintendo. Did you ever play that one?
No.
Horrible game. Literally, one hit you die. Yeah. Like you have to use the cheat code and get the 99 lives, so you just have a shot at maybe beating this game. Like like we were talking about the Angry Video Game Nerd. He actually did a review over that one as well.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, and I have to say he pretty much hit that one on the hit that nail with the hammer on that one. If I can talk straight.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. He hit the nail on the head with the hammer on that one. That's what I was trying to say, and it couldn't come out.
It works. I can edit it if you want me to. I'll put sound effects in.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your number 2?
Okay. My number 2
Let me scroll down a little bit so you can see the other videos.
No, I know what my number 2 is.
Okay.
It is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for Super Nintendo. Now, I've thrown out, I think 3 out of my 5 are all Super Nintendo.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
regular Nintendo.
Like growing up, my Super Nintendo was probably the system I played the most, and then of course N64.
Yeah, pretty much had the same childhood.
Yeah.
Besides, mine was Sega and yours was Nintendo.
Yeah. But Zelda: A Link to the Past was a great game. It was which it's funny. Zelda is always the masterpiece of Nintendo's crowning achievements on the system.
Yeah.
Because okay, on NES, The Legend of Zelda, I mean that it was a masterpiece for the time and what they were trying to do. Super Nintendo, which is the one Link to the Past I picked. You're talking about a game that once again was the crowning achievement of the system. Which I mean, there's tons of Zelda games and they're all really good, but I think A Link to the Past was one of the far better ones. It's at least in the top 3 out of best Zelda games, and for me, it was one of my favorites.
I did kind of steal one of your Zelda games. I stole it from you. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
We'll jump right into my number 2. This was one of the games that I played a lot as a kid, and I finally beat it. And I actually went back not too long ago and beat it because they had it on Xbox 360. And I was just sitting there thinking, how in the world I beat this game without checkpoints? But Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah.
Did you play it?
I love Sonic 2. It was a great game. I actually did have a Sega Genesis, but I never had that many games for it. But Sonic 2 was one of the games I had.
Oh yeah, did it come with it? Because I think it came with mine.
I think it did when I got mine.
Yeah, we must have got them later on or something. I don't know. It's hard.
I remember the first time freaking out on Sonic 2 when we figured out the Sega controller controlled Tails.
Oh yeah.
So when you had a friend over, you're sitting there like, oh, we're playing co-op. No, you ain't playing co-op. You're playing. You might get to have some fun with helping me fight the boss, but everything else you do is irrelevant.
You go get them rings. I'm gonna stand right here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep sacrificing you over and over.
Was it Sonic 3 where you can actually fly and stuff?
See, never played Sonic 3.
Oh, really?
The Sonic games I played were a lot on the Game Gear. Sonic Triple Threat, Sonic 3D, and there was another Sonic game I played, and I had Sonic Pinball. Sonic is just one of those characters. Sega was like, keep us from drowning, bro. Save us.
It did for a little while.
I mean, Sonic was great, but he suffered the same problems a lot of the iconic people do, like Mega Man. Mm-hmm. They just get whored out. I mean, I don't know another way to say that.
I don't know if you should bleep that out or not. I don't guess so.
I don't think. I think it was good in the context I used it. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah,
they won't catch it. It'd be cool.
But I mean, they suffer from that because you have these great games and all of a sudden you have this handful of crap. Like the Mega Man card game. Name one person that enjoyed playing that game I mean, like anybody that said they enjoyed wanting to play that game, I wanted to punch in the face.
I've never played that game.
It is just, I don't know, man. I just did not enjoy anything. But I mean, sometimes you get lucky. I mean, and it's pretty good. Yeah. But I mean, what was it? Like, what was Sonic's last good game?
To me, it was Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic and Knuckles?
Well, I guess Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because that came out around the same time, I think.
Well, didn't they make like a cartridge that you could set on top of it to put Knuckles into any of the other Sonic games?
When that was Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah. You could put Sonic 2 in and play as Knuckles.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
I guess that was the only 2 games you could put it in.
Which you could cheat it out and glide as Knuckles.
Yeah, you really could, and that's what I did in the Chemical Plant Zone on Sonic 2. I just climbed up stuff and it was done.
Yeah, man. Did you ever, on any of the Sonic games, did you ever collect all the emeralds and become Super Sonic?
A few times. It was Sonic 2, I believe. I didn't do it in 3.
See, I did it once in Sonic 2. Yeah. And it's like, how is that ever useful? Because it burns. It's cool. It's really cool.
It is cool.
But it's like, oh, I don't understand how this is useful ever. Because it burns out so quick. You're just like, okay. Well,
you're at the boss fight, no rings.
Yeah, like I went through all that trouble trying to collect these stupid things for that.
Just don't double jump.
Like, the reward isn't worth the hassle.
Not really.
Like, especially if you're good at it, you know?
Mm. I guess if you done it like at the start of the like Act 1 or Zone 1 or whatever it was called, and just ran through the game real quick.
But then you'd have to have control over when you did it. Like,
oh, yeah.
As soon as you go have that last emerald, boom, you got it, gone. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. In Super Smash Brothers, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, grab that Smash ball, go supersonic, like beat everybody to death on the screen.
Oh man, I missed that game.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna play that now.
I actually have the Smash Brothers on the Nintendo DS, and to be honest, Nintendo knows what they're doing with the handheld system, man.
Oh yeah.
Which I saw a really funny meme with Patrick from SpongeBob, where you remember like where they're all on the Krusty Krab, and Patrick's like, "Why don't we just take the town and put it over here?" Well, the mom is that one, and he's like, "Why don't we take all the good games and put them on one console?" And it shows a Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, it's the truth.
It really is. Yeah.
There's so many good games on the Nintendo DS.
Okay. Do you want to jump into honorable mentions first before we jump into number 1?
I actually thought of an honorable mention that we didn't go over before this.
Okay.
I gotta go with honorable mention. Any of the wrestling, like South Park. You know nothing about wrestling, but any of the N64 wrestling games. Any of those, I would have to say would be worthy of honorable mention because that was just so much fun to me.
I agree.
Like,
especially NWO versus WCW Revenge.
Yes, that one was great.
That was actually my honorable mention, so we can talk about it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. That's cool that we had the same idea on this.
Which I have another honorable mention though. Was also Taken 3. Taken T-E-K-K.
Taken.
Yeah.
I guess it's Taken.
Yeah, Taken. Taken 3 because that was my first fighter I ever really. You don't count like the wrestling games and.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, I take that back. Killer Instinct was my original fighting game.
What about Street Fighter?
Street Fighter 2, and I actually had Killer Instinct before Street Fighter 2.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I have to say, man, when it comes to any like WCW versus NWO Revenge, Scott Hall, I use Scott Hall so much.
He comes out with a little airplane guy.
Which man, it disappoints me. Like as we get older and we see our wrestling like fan like as a, like not fans, but we're the fans.
Yeah, we're the fans.
Our icons,
and they're just like
like drunks. They're these horrible people that you're like, I idolized you growing up, man.
Oh man, we should do like a whole episode of just nothing wrestling stuff.
Oh dude, we should. We could go over it for a while. The problem is, man, I'm not up to date on any of the new stuff. I quit watching during this. Dude, like this whole after the Attitude Era and they tried to PG it up, I just couldn't watch it no more.
There's nothing but John Cena.
I mean, like when I watch wrestling, I want to feel like white trash garbage, just sitting there drinking like whiskey, going, "Woo! He threw him over that table, daggone, man." You know,
enjoy some Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, just come out there, smash some beers, drink them, get drunk. You know, flip off your boss. My favorite Stone Cold moment is when he drove out in the beer truck.
Oh yeah,
and just drenched Vince McMahon, and he's just like, "Hell yeah!" You know.
Do you remember Kurt Angle?
I remember Kurt Angle. Never was a fan of Kurt Angle.
I wasn't either.
Like, he always seemed like that guy, if you approached him, he was just going to be the big daggone, man. Right? Yeah. I mean, he could be a really nice guy in real life. It was just, you know, first impressions that you get of people. As soon as I saw this guy, I'm like, whether he's acting or not, I feel like, daggone, man. I mean, it'd be like Brock Lesnar, man.
Oh,
like,
God, you know he is.
Like, I feel like Brock Lesnar is one of two people. I feel like he's either a really, really nice person or he is the biggest jack. Daggone, man. Everything. But if you watch him in the media, he is a daggone, man. But, I mean, would you say that to his face? No. Like, he would just take your head off.
He would.
Like, Conor we're really going off track.
We are, but it's okay. But
it's okay. I want to say something just because this actually reaches out to people. If anybody thinks Conor McGregor beat Nate Diaz, they are full of it. Go back and watch that second fight. That was crap. Nate Diaz beat the crap. Like, well, I'm not going to say it was a good fight. It really was a good fight. But I really feel like, judging-wise, Conor McGregor he was so burnt out. Like, he was tired. And Nate Diaz just started mopping the floor with him. I mean, yeah, Diaz, they both had, I mean, it was a good fight, and they both got good shots, but, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just going to say out for the record, Nate Diaz got screwed really, really hard on that fight when it comes to points.
I have to agree with you because I didn't see it. Because I don't know.
That's right, you have to agree with me, peer pressure and whatnot.
Okay, let's jump in there number one.
All right, number one.
we sidetracked.
Yeah, we sidetracked way out there.
That's okay. It happens a lot in this show.
All right, do you want to go first on this one?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Wait, did you give your number 2?
Sonic 2.
Oh, yeah, Sonic 2.
And my NWO versus WCW was my honorable mention. But
well, hold on. Before we go on, I want to go over one more thing.
Okay.
Do you remember the first time you created your own wrestler in any of those wrestling games?
Oh, God, it was...
it was one of the WWF games that started
Warzone, wasn't it?
Warzone, I think so. I remember the first character I made, man.
Yeah.
I had him come out to the D-Generation X music. I had all that set up. I had him, any given time, depending on how I wanted to change it, it was either Sweet Chin music, a Stone Cold Stunner, or I think they had the Outsider's Edge, but they called it something different of Scott Hall's move, which I may be thinking of a different game.
Might be Razor's Edge.
Razor's Edge?
Because that was his Razor Ramon gimmick.
Because I remember the moment I actually found that move, all my characters had it. Because I always went, when I played it, I would turn off pins, I'd turn off submissions, and only have TKOs. Yeah. So any finishing move I had was always a try to TKO to knock you out. And those were the stunner, I don't think the stunner would knock you out. I think it just was good for pinning. Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, I'm done with that.
I'm going to come back on something on Scott Hall because I do want to tell you something about it. But my first character that I made, it was myself, and then there was a kid I didn't like in my school. So I made him, and I made him like real tiny. Like it was the skinniest thing you possibly get in that game. Yeah. And then I called him like something pea pants or something like that. I can't remember. I was kind of young. But I used to wear him out just because I didn't like him.
Yeah. But I used to love just digging over into the stands and pulling out steel chairs, whatever random weapon it was to give you.
You could do that, yeah.
And just turn off disqualifications and just go in there and beat the tar out of somebody.
I used to do that too.
Yeah.
It was fun. I'd sit for hours beating somebody up.
Oh, God. Yeah. Dude, I mean, that game would get, I mean, it had its moments where like you would sit there and have like a 30-minute match with somebody and be like, how have I not knocked you out or any of this?
Yeah.
And then you'll have some matches like 5 seconds in, boom! I win. Whoa, how'd you get to a special that fast? You know, it just made no sense.
Oh, well, I'm going to get sidetracked again for a second. I was like the number one guy on TNA had a game. It was the only TNA wrestling game that was ever made. And I figured out like a little cheat you could do. You can draw them outside the ring. And then it was like a weird headbutt. And I think they actually had something like that in one of the WWE games. But I would headbutt them, hit them with the chair, go back in the ring, and they would get counted out every single time, and I would win the match. And I was like the top guy on the leaderboards because of it.
Dude, how many times did you do that?
A lot. I wore that game out. I might have been on the leaderboard because I was the only person that really played that game. But
man, the only thing I have to, don't get me wrong, like, the TNA wrestling company, like, oh my God.
It's horrible now.
I hated that. Like, I was such a big fan of Jeff Hardy. A big fan. And then I found out the real reasons he got kicked out of the WWE. I mean, was it still the WWF? Or was it, I'm going to call it WWF because that's what it is.
That's what,
Yeah. But, I mean, WWE, whatever. When he got kicked out, which his leaving was losing to CM Punk, which was actually kind of funny because he was brought up on drug charges. He was caught with what, cocaine or something?
Something like that,
yeah.
Punk was calling him out on it.
Yeah, and like he got in trouble, so his firing was him losing the title to CM Punk, who's straight edge.
Yeah.
Like, and then you just get thrown over to TNA, and then like everything just goes to garbage. Like he didn't even look like he stayed in good of shape.
No,
like everyone that goes to TNA, it's like, oh, we ain't got to work out no more. You know, we're just big names.
Pretty much. There was, after you brought this up, I'll get on the Scott Hall thing here in a second. But Jeff Hardy, I guess he was still on drugs when he was in TNA.
Yeah.
Because there was a match. He was a big Sting fan, apparently.
Yeah.
And it was him and Sting for the TNA Championship or something like that. Sting came out first, and then you see Jeff Hardy coming out, and he's like out of this world walking down the ramp.
Yeah.
And Sting's got this weird look on his face, and by the time Jeff Hardy gets in the ring, and he's like playing around with the crowd and stuff, Eric Bischoff at the time was like general manager or something of the show, and he ran out. He said something to Jeff Hardy, looks at Sting, tells him something too, but he was acting like a jerk because Sting was the good guy and Eric Bischoff was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Sting just does the Scorpion Death Drop, holds his shoulders down. You can see Jeff Hardy's actually trying to kick out, but
Yeah.
he can't. And Sting's just overpowering him, and they just count the 3, and it's over. And the reason behind that was because Jeff Hardy done so many drugs, and he was so high that they didn't want him to wrestle at that point.
Really?
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube. I forget. Just look up Sting versus Jeff Hardy or something like that.
Man, that's sad, man. Because
It
I
is
mean,
sad.
Jeff Hardy was awesome, like when he was at his peak.
Yeah.
But you got me, man. I mean, like that's even starting to get on stuff like Chris Benoit. And,
Oh, gosh.
oh, that's horrible.
We'll have to bleep Chris Benoit part out.
I mean,
We can talk about him.
probably, man. I
We can
mean,
talk about him.
I was like, dude, I used to love Chris Benoit, the
He was
crippler
cool.
crossface.
Yeah. They just
And
went out there. I don't know. I feel like
I'm about to make a joke. But,
oh god, don't do it.
oh god.
Family
But
friendly.
I mean, has enough time passed for us to make a joke about this?
I don't think so.
I mean, the only thing I really want to say, you can cut this later if you want, but
Okay.
man, like, you think he gave his wife to crippler crossface?
I think that was actually
Oh,
on the
that's
news
horrible.
that he did that.
I promise I'm not that mean-spirited, people. That was just...
If people can joke about 9/11 at this point, we can
Dude,
joke
okay.
about Chris Benoit.
No, okay, I made a joke like that, but I actually... Did you see the cosplayers that went to Dragon Con dressed as the Twin Towers?
No.
They had Barbie dolls and stuff hanging out of the windows of the costume.
Really?
And they had all the foam and stuff, and they went as the Twin Towers.
It's crazy.
Like, you know... You can make like kind of like one of those weird wrestling jokes maybe because I mean they get it, they're roided up people and it's
Yeah.
kind of like the roid thing. It's like humor covering like a serious you know
Yeah.
dark problem.
Definitely.
But I mean, at what point is that offensive? I mean, like yeah, you have your freedom of speech, but I mean,
I'm sorry.
I don't
shouldn't laugh at this.
Yeah,
It's
no,
so
but
weird
it's
of a
so-
costume.
I mean, at what point does someone go, "Hey, let's dress up as a Twin Towers"? People are going to love this.
Like,
Or-
what were people saying?
I mean, people were offended. I mean, people were highly offended.
I can see why.
I mean, I can too. I mean, I don't know what to say to somebody like that. I mean, see, now that's weird. I'm cool with making fun of Chris Benoit, but I'm not cool with making fun of this. You know?
Well, I'm not really offended too much. So if I seen it, I would just be like, "Oh man, that's gonna offend a lot of people." But it doesn't
Yeah.
offend
I mean,
me.
I
Like,
wouldn't really say anything to him because I mean, somebody doing that, they're obviously just wanting attention.
Mm.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
whether positive or negative, they got what they wanted.
Oh yeah. They did.
Like, oh, we're blasted all over Facebook and stuff like that. And what gets me is like when you have people that do this stuff, you have everyone that starts commenting and bringing attention to it. That's what they're doing. They're feeding this negative thing exactly
really
what
are.
it wanted when they should have just ignored it and went on.
There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
especially this last 2 years, that people should have just let it go.
Oh.
Just don't even mention it no more.
Man, at the end of this year, like you're gonna start playing like Pokemon games, like on like a handheld,
Huh.
and what's gonna happen is it's gonna ask your gender. Are you a boy or a girl? Are you transgender? Are you asexual? What are you? It's gonna have like 8 different options. I
It
mean,
probably is at some point.
just so they don't freaking offend anybody.
Everybody's offended by anything now.
Yeah.
I don't even think people's really offended anymore. I think it's just to the point where they just want to say that they're offended so they get more attention.
Man, like I have my own opinions on that. But, like I'm not gonna.
We're
bring
getting
that.
real
Yeah.
politically correct at this point.
Like we're gonna have somebody get on here and find us offensive and try to like these boys need to be sued.
Well, we're not making any money, so don't even try.
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna take from me at this point?
I checked the monetization on YouTube.
Yeah.
We made 1/8 of a penny. So go for it.
Yeah,
You can add that penny if you
I'd
want.
give you a penny.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you something about Scott Hall, where he was real bad on alcohol and drugs
Yeah.
and everything. He's actually straightened out a lot. He was hanging out with DDP and doing his yoga and stuff. He straightened him out.
Like, when did DDP start doing yoga?
I don't know.
Do the diamond cutter. The diamond cutter. It looks like the RKO and Stone Cold Stunner variation.
Okay, I gotta stop you right there because DDP was first.
No, okay. Well, hold on, wait. Was DDP first or was Stone Cold first? I mean, it's just a slight variation, man. Like in the way their body's angled.
Okay, I can't remember when Steve Austin did the Stone Cold Stunner, but he was around WCW time the same time DDP was. So maybe Steve Austin did it first.
That's hard. That's hard to call.
It is
We'll
hard
have
to
to
call.
look that one up.
But Randy Orton stole it.
Yeah, Randy Orton straight stole the diamond cutter. That's straight DDP's move. But don't get me wrong. I mean, we're gonna be sitting here talking. Next thing you know, you're gonna hear boom straight out of nowhere, and hear Randy Orton take over the show. Actually, that would be cool. Like if you cut this part and then put Randy Orton's voice in there.
Okay. What were we doing?
Oh yeah, we were getting to our number one and we got
God.
real sidetracked.
We took like 40 minutes to get through our top five.
Oh man,
It's okay.
I really hope we have wrestling fans.
Oh well, I feel like it goes hand in hand. Like geek stuff goes with wrestling stuff. Maybe.
I mean, like if you're anywhere in the Bible Belt, you're probably a wrestling fan.
Oh, definitely.
If not, you know what's up.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is fake, but you know what? We love it.
Tell I won't say that. That's kind of offensive. I won't say it. Never mind. Okay, my number one in their retro game top 5 is Zelda 64 Ocarina of Time.
That is a wonderful game.
It is. That was going to be one of yours. And
Yeah,
you're
it
like,
was. It really was. But I mean, Link to the Past was my first Zelda game, so I decided to go with it.
Okay. Well, that works out because actually Zelda 64 is my first Zelda game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I played Sega a lot.
Dude, Zelda 64 is an amazing game. And once again, like I was talking about it earlier, it's the Master Chief. I mean, not Master Chief. It's the masterpiece of the Nintendo 64 system.
It could be the Master Chief, too.
I mean, it could be.
If you wanted it to be. Zelda can be anything you want because it's that good.
But, I mean, yeah, Zelda 64, I mean, it was so good. Like, it was one of those games that they ported to the Nintendo DS. And it's a wonderful remake. The graphics are actually better. A lot of stuff's smoother on the DS. If you ever get a chance to play the DS version,
I haven't played it yet.
dude, you got to play the DS version if it's in your top 5, because I mean, they even after you beat the game, they give you a master quest, and the master quest they've mirrored the entire world. Like, just like you took a mirror to it, and Link ain't left-handed, he's right-handed in the master quest just to mess with you.
Yeah.
And you think it really wouldn't matter, but actually it kind of does if you're one of those perfectionists and want to just be like, nobody's touching me, I'm beating the whole game with 3 hearts type people. But I mean, the master quest is fun. I still haven't beat it yet. I'm saving it for those rainy days, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. In the original, when I remember playing it, that's actually how I met one of my best friends, was playing Ocarina of Time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My friend Keith.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually how we became friends.
Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, I was stuck in the Forest Temple. We both played elementary school basketball when he came over here. I remember I was just sitting there playing it, and I was like getting frustrated, and he actually had beat it with our friend Tony as well. And he's like, "You got to shoot the paintings." I didn't know you were supposed to shoot the stupid paintings on the wall. I was like, what type of diabolical genius thought of this? Because I'd been stuck there for 2 weeks.
Oh, dang.
And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, the Forest Temple is the one temple I know like the back of my hand. I can walk through that whole thing. Which is actually funny because most people hate the Water Temple. The Water Temple...
I feel like I had more trouble in the Forest Temple than I did the Water one.
Like, I don't know. Like, for me, it's the Water Temple. I used to do speed runs, and that was one of the games I speed run. Oh, yeah. The Water Temple, I eventually remember I figured out how to do it smoothly. And then when I played the remake after not playing the game for several years, I was like, wait a minute. And when you it's like, oh man, the water level's wrong. I gotta go change it to do just that. You do all of it, and all of a sudden you realize you messed up again. You got to start all over. And I mean, the Water Temple is just so much aggravating. But I did enjoy the fight with Dark Link in there.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
That was one of my favorite things. Which one of the cool things, you can choose to do this. This is actually a handicap.
Is it with the hammer?
No.
Oh, okay.
What I would do is I would try to find one of the worms, or use my wooden shield and have a fireball hit it. Because at the beginning of the game, you have to equip those things to go to the Deku tree, right? Or Deku. Yeah. Well, I used to like to play the game and try to beat the whole thing with 3 hearts, and also I tried to get rid of my shield as fast as I could. That way, the only thing I had was my sword. And go through the whole game with no shield and 3 hearts.
Oh, really?
That is a real challenge. But, I mean, it's fun. Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, you can do it. It's just, you got to, yeah, you have to use the mirror shield when you get to the Sand Temple. Okay. But, I mean, you can still, later on, you can switch back to, like, the Hyrulean shield and find a worm and have it eat it off of you and go right back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, other than the Sand Temple, the beating the game with no shield and 3 hearts is a real challenge.
If I played that game now, it'd be like a whole new game to me, where it's been so long since I played it.
That's the wonderful thing about those games.
It really is.
But
do you want to jump into yours?
I guess so. My number one, it has to be Final Fantasy VII.
You and Matt. You guys love Final Fantasy.
I love Final Fantasies 1 through 10. After that, I'm good. Until, like, I'm even worried about now. Being a 7 is my favorite. I'm gonna say some really good things about it. Like, after Super Mario RPG, it was the next RPG I ever got a hold of.
Oh, really?
And what happened is my friend Keith, he told me about Final Fantasy VIII, and he kept talking about it, and I was like, well, you know what, I want to try Final Fantasy VII, you know, because it was out and Final Fantasy VIII wasn't out yet. Ended up, put the game in, and I was just blown away. I was just like, I'd never played a game like that. I can remember getting to the end of Medgar and thinking I beat the game, and I was like, what are these other discs for? You know, because I was so used to that Super Nintendo generation where, like, you know, the games were like ridiculously challenging, and you know, but I mean, if you got super good at them, you beat them in like 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'd never played a game that took me more than probably 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
And so I was like, when I came out of Medgar and I saw this world map, like it just blew my mind. And I think because of that, like, connection I got with that game and how many times I played through that game a solid 40 sometimes.
Really?
Yeah,
Dang,
is the
that's
most.
a lot of time.
Dude, that's the most game. That's the most times I've ever played through a game. Like, I've played that game more than anything.
I don't think I've ever played a game that many times.
It's something about that game I find extremely appealing, which, I mean, the overall theme of that game is about life. It's not a love story. It's not, it was very original when it came out. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you do have like characters that like each other and stuff like that, but I mean, it's not, it's about more than that type of stuff that you find like in certain games. I mean, yeah, you are saving the world, and you're only saving the world 90% of games. But I mean, just anybody that plays 7, look at the fan base. The fan base is so crazy. They've been screaming a remake for years.
Yeah. It's finally coming out, isn't it?
Yes, it is coming out, but I'm really scared that they're going to ruin it because the remake is coming out. Basically, it's like it's told like a JRPG. If you've ever played the Disgaea games, where you have like chapter 1 and then you have like all this thing that folds out, and it's easier to tell a story that way. My problem with it is it makes the game linear. It makes the game extremely linear. Like, you're literally playing the game in stages, and this is what got me turned off when Final Fantasy 13 came out. You literally are playing stages. You're not. I mean, yeah, at the end of the 13, you could roam around the world, right? But I mean, it didn't feel fun. Like, it was just like, okay, here, I'm gonna go do these hunting quests and whatever. When you compare it to like 7, 8, 9, and you just look at the side quests where you could just wander around the world and find like a cave in the middle of a mountain, you're like, why is this here? Yeah. Nobody has said anything about this, and you could just wander into it. The exploration,
adventure a little bit.
Yeah, like you could adventure, and there was so much left to your imagination. Right. But the remake, they're streamlining it, man, and why? It's easier. It's easier. This is all opinion based, but I'm really like, that remake is gonna have to like really. It's gonna have to be good. If it's not, I'm probably gonna rip it a new one.
They keep pushing back too, because it was supposed to already be out, wasn't it? Or was it?
I'm not sure on that.
I know they pushed it back again because Matt was telling me about that.
I know.
We actually talked about it, I think.
I have no clue. I just know I hope it's good. I hope I enjoy it when I play it, but I am not pre-ordering it because the Final Fantasy series has let me down so hard ever since Final Fantasy X-2.
Yeah. Maybe X-2 is the one I played.
I'm not even going to start on that piece of garbage.
Was there a Final Fantasy 13 too?
There was a Final Fantasy 13-2 and a Final Fantasy 13-3.
Oh, really?
It got 2 sequels.
You know, I mentioned it earlier. I don't even mention which one I mentioned. I don't even remember which one it was now.
We were talking about, like, I started talking about the Final Fantasy 3 at the Reset Games. But, I mean, Final Fantasy 7 was just... It is one of the greatest games, and there's a reason why it has a fan base the way it does.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But, I mean... another game, though, that almost... Like, in terms of RPGs that I probably should have thrown into honorable mention. And I got to be honest, I almost tossed this into my top 5, and I wish I kind of had at this point now I think about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, The Legend of Dragoon.
The Legend of Dragoon?
Yes, it's just now starting to get the respect that it deserves. It was a very underrated game. It was RPG. It was kind of linear.
Oh, you can keep talking. I want to look for something.
Okay. But it's kind of linear. I actually own 2 copies of it.
Oh, really?
Because one time I actually dropped the first copy. and I scratched the disc. So I immediately had to go get me another copy because I was just like, I love this game. When I first got it, my friend Keith, when I keep talking about it, he had told me about it. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the store and I picked it up because I was looking for a new game, I'd been saving my money.
Oh, and I don't have it. I thought I had it, but I got Dragon Rage.
Oh. But when I got it, man, nobody saw me for 3 weeks. I was totally locked into that game. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to say it's a tie between 7 and Legend Dragoon for my number 1. I have to put I have to put it in there. Like, I know it's a top 5, but I have to put it in there just because of that.
We'll stretch rules a little bit.
Yeah. Which, I mean, describe Legend Dragoon for anybody that's never played it. You're playing like a mythological Power Rangers game, and that sounds horrible. That may turn you off to it. But try it.
That turns me on to it.
Sorry. Whoa.
Sorry.
But I mean, like, potential spoilers here. But I mean, you get a dragon spirit, and you build up SP in your combat. And once you build up enough, you can transform, and you get like this dragon armor.
Sorry, that was like a nav.
I thought it was like, I hope that didn't hornet. But I mean, you get dragon armor, and certain characters are specific to certain elements. Dart, the main character, is specific to fire, and of course you have light, darkness, water, earth, lightning. You have elements and stuff like that, and it's really cool. But I mean, it always felt like a really cool version of Power Rangers to me, and I guess I ate that up. But I mean, the story to it was really good. It even has some really cool side quests, which I will say, compared to a Final Fantasy game like Final Fantasy 8 or 7 or 9 or 6, it really didn't have that many side quests. But I mean, there was other stuff to do besides the main story. And leveling up, I would be surprised if most people got above 40.
Really?
Like, you got to work once you want to get decent level. I'm not sure. I think level 5. Oof. I'm not sure what the max level cap is for that one, to be honest. But I mean,
I don't know.
I've never hit the max level cap on it.
Oh, really?
It's a really good game though.
I'll have to download some video footage of it and throw it on there.
If you do, download the cinematics from the second disc.
Cinematics?
Yeah, there's cinematics on the second disc that are just, for a lot of people, that made the game for them.
Oh, wow.
And anybody watching, there you go. So, I mean, if you watch, but
if you're watching, you can see it. But if you're just listening on iTunes or something, you don't get to see it.
But given this game came out in 2000, if you're going to cry about spoilers at this point, that's on you.
That was 16 years ago.
Yeah, you can only be protected so far.
That's true. Okay. This is weird because I'm going to introduce my own neat stuff. It's usually Matt that does it, but script's over there. It's too far to go to get it. Sorry, Matt.
He ain't here.
Yeah. He probably listens to this podcast anyways.
Which we do apologize for his absence, as we told you at the beginning of the show. He is working for the Claiborne County Work Release Program right now.
No, this is true. Sorry. I'm sorry, Matt.
He just wants to know your littering is his freedom.
That's true. That's why I throw stuff out the window all the time. I don't do that. I don't promote littering. I totally do. But anyways, so this week on my neat stuff, I usually scour the web, find some stuff, throw it up there, neat stuff. This week I found Funko Pop, which is going to be, I think you can pre-order it now. I don't think it's out yet. There's a few that comes out with him, but it's Negan from The Walking Dead. That's totally my neat stuff.
Oh, God, Negan.
That's all I can say.
Negan, man. Okay. Now, I don't know if you and Matt have gone over any of this.
A little bit.
But this is about to be a very, very long conversation.
Oh, gosh. So we got time for this?
I think we need to make this like an extended cut. Because I'm probably not going to be back for a while.
Oh, gosh. Are you not coming back next week?
Yeah, I got to go to Arkansas.
Oh,
yeah.
What's in Arkansas?
Money.
Arkansas?
Yeah.
You go to Arkansas?
But, I mean, if you want to talk Negan,
money, what are you doing down in Arkansas?
What was your... Okay, let's just talk about the hot topic. I mean, let's not go into the whole Walking Dead thing because there's so many things we can talk about. Right. Let's just talk about Negan right now.
Okay.
And the end of season 6.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you what I thought? I might have already gotten into this a little bit, but I don't... I'm assuming you don't know.
I have my initial opinion, and then I have my opinion as of now, when I've really, really had enough time to let it sink in.
Oh yeah.
Now, before I go on, I want to say that I am a comic book fan. I'm a huge comic book fan of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, me too.
And I will warn anybody listening, I'm going to let loose with spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, with the popularity and stuff, there's been enough time passed. If you don't know about the comic spoilers that we're going to be talking about, which of course is, you know, the big scene at the end of season 6 where eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Negan's beating someone's head in, you know? Well, we all know that Glenn gets his head beat in the comic. I mean,
gets it destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, Glenn is in the comic. He was beloved.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he was what Daryl Dixon is to the show now.
Gosh, are you thinking it's Daryl?
I think Daryl got it. I think Daryl got it because I have. He's been working on a lot of projects, which everybody has their own opinion, and a lot of people strongly think that it's Glenn, and they also think it's Abraham.
Yeah,
because
I'm one of those people.
But see, like, it's hard to deny it, and people try to keep up with like who's on set and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah, I've
but
been keeping up with those too.
The Walking Dead is good at containing their spoilers.
They really are.
From what I understand, they made a death scene for everybody.
Oh,
but in my opinion, I think if The Walking Dead wants to be true to what it is, especially from the comics, Daryl has to be the one. He is the one that's going to cause the biggest emotional impact.
It really is.
Like, fans are going to hate Negan so bad, I think they'll keep watching the show to see if anybody kills him.
Yeah.
Especially the non-comic book fans, because
they don't know.
They don't know. They don't know what happens next, which I'm not going to go into that because we're just talking about this one specific moment. My initial thing at the end of that season 6, was you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I don't know. That's just uses that for me.
You're gonna give me a first person's perspective, and you just like that was Negan beating the fans.
Yeah.
That was him just beating us in the head, going, "Ha, I'm Negan." Now I was upset. I wanted that season to end with the death of somebody. It did, but we don't know who. But I wanted to know who, and of course that's what they do to hook you. It's going to drive.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to see how many people tune in for the premiere of season 7 because it is starting exactly where Negan is beating somebody's head in, from what I've read.
Oh man.
So it's going to be a big opening thing, but I'm curious who's it going to be? Like, I say it's Daryl. Most of the people I talk to say Glenn and Abraham.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's Glenn and Abraham, to be honest with you.
I mean, it can be, because, Abraham's happy, and anytime anybody is happy on that show, you can't be happy.
No.
You can't be the moral compass either, which makes me worry about Morgan.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm thinking about Morgan.
Morgan but he broke his rule, though.
He did.
He did to save Carol.
Yeah.
But that was another spoiler.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
they've seen it.
Yeah, but Negan, that scene. Like, now that I've had time to think about it, it was genius on their part because they're probably going to get a huge opening.
Oh yeah,
you know, everyone wants to know. But what it does, it sets that episode. The last episode of season 6 isn't about who's dying. It's about Negan. It's about the introduction of Negan. Because you're talking about, like, he's had the biggest introduction of any comic book character from The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, and that episode is supposed to get you to think about Negan all the way up into season 7. And then season 7, when it opens up with him beating somebody's head in, it's him establishing dominance. So you're going to, like, hate Negan. I mean, there's, like, but the thing is he's so charismatic.
He really is.
Like, you want to just, like, punch him in the face and maybe give him a hug and call him, butthole or something,
Call him a butthole?
Anybody that reads the comics, Negan is just, he's one of these dark characters that you're just like, this guy's pretty cool, But I really can't wait to see what they do. I'm really hoping they toss in a lot of stuff from the comics, which throws me off because they've already killed Holly off in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And anybody that read the comics knows that Holly which you probably not even know I'm talking about because they literally just barely got her in the show.
They really did.
Like Noah talks about her when Noah was around before Noah died, and he just talks about her. They never they might show her like a glimpse of her walking away like for a second, and then they have that one where the wolves attacked, and Denise is trying to save her, but she dies. She bleeds out.
Right.
But that threw me for a loop because I'm like, wait a minute. In the comics, she had a huge role, which also in the comics, you know, she's the one that falls in love with Abraham and all that other stuff, which threw me off. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to handle a certain situation that comes down in the comics later in the show.
Oh man, you think something bad's gonna happen to Sasha?
I think it's going to be the katana.
Oh, Michonne?
Michonne, yes. I about said Musashi. Musashi.
Musashi.
Thinking about games. Yeah, but I think it's going to be, I think that part's going to be Michonne.
Oh, God. I don't want Michonne to die.
I think it's going to be her because that's the only one that makes sense for her.
Michonne does leave for a while on the boat.
Well, it also depends. It also depends about how Abraham goes out. Because if it's Glenn and Abraham, I can understand it maybe it being Sasha.
Okay.
You know,
a lot of people's gonna be wanting to read the comics now at this point.
I mean, if you haven't read the comics, read the comics. They're really good. They're darker than the show because they can be.
A lot darker.
You don't have a Daryl Dixon, which, to be honest, another reason why I think it's Daryl is because of Scarface. What's his name? Dwight.
Dwight.
Yeah, Dwight.
He's got the crossbow now.
Well, it's not just that. If you look at the comics, his and Daryl Dixon characters are very similar. They both have the leather vest. They don't really show that in the show until here lately. But I've seen the previews for it where Dwight's wearing Dixon's vest.
Yeah.
And he's holding the crossbow.
That's gonna make people hate Dwight.
Dude, it can. But here's the thing, though, man. Dwight is a really cool character, kind of. I mean, yeah, he gets his balls bit in both the show and the comic. He just he gets beat up, and to be honest, when you actually know his backstory a little bit, you feel sorry for the guy.
Right.
But, I mean, I ain't going to ruin stuff for people in the show. They may not even do it the same, but the comic got very interesting with Dwight's story. But my thing is you can't have two characters doing the same thing.
That's true.
Dwight and Daryl are both, if you had, one thing I really caught about D&D, and I've noticed it in other aspects of media, a lot of people I think that Robert Kirkman used D&D stuff. Because when you really think about it, you got Michonne, who's a samurai. You got Rick, that has to be a fighter.
Definitely.
Classes like that. You got Sasha, who could probably be a ranger with a gun.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And I always thought that was really cool. I guess Carol would have to be a rogue.
Yeah, I can see that actually.
Morgan the monk.
Yeah, definitely monkish.
Definitely. I'm not sure where to throw Negan. Maybe barbarian.
I could see being barbarian. Yeah.
Barbarian.
Which could throw you another loop because Abraham's kind of that same character in a way.
I mean, he is.
He's the barbarian kind in the Rick's group.
He really is.
He's dead.
Yeah. But yeah. That's really, I don't really have too much more to say, but I really would say if anybody's interested in what we just said, definitely look up the comparison between Dwight and Daryl.
Yeah, because there is a lot.
There is, especially if you get a lot of the comic book material, and I'm telling you, you can't have two people doing the same job.
You really can't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Which I did love in the right before the finale where Dwight shoots Daryl.
Yeah.
And he goes cuts to black, and you hear Dwight, he'd be all right. Or he'll be okay, or something along those lines.
Dude, there was like a week where people were freaking out.
Yeah,
Daryl died.
But I mean, as soon as it happened, I rewatched, I rewound it, and I was like, he clipped him in the shoulder. Yeah. He's fine. But I mean, that's what they're doing. They want to scare you. And people were saying foreshadowing, all this other stuff. There was one argument I read about Michonne that they think it's Michonne because all the foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah.
Like the walker with her hair and stuff. And
oh, yeah.
But what they forgot is every one of those zombies had articles of everyone's stuff there. That was foreshadowing for everybody. It just concentrated on Michonne because of the connection Rick just had with her.
Right.
They're trying to scare you. They want you to think. They're getting paid a lot of money for a reason.
Definitely. How did you feel when you watched the whole entire episode, like that last episode?
I felt like Negan beat my head in with the baseball bat. That's exactly how I felt. And That's how, the director wanted you to feel.
Right.
And I mean, that's why it made people mad. You don't get to beat me with the bat. I mean, but that was the thing. Like Negan was the focus, not the death.
Right. I think he actually said that on the Talking Dead right afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. It was along those lines. Like he tried to tell
Which,
people.
I will say this. Have you seen the unedited version of that episode? I recently bought the Blu-ray season 6 DVD set, right? Or Blu-ray set.
Yeah.
Well, they have the unedited version of that episode, and it's word for word comic literal.
Really?
Like even with the F-bombs.
Oh man.
Every F-bomb that Negan drops is in the unedited one. That's awesome. And if you open the comic book and you follow the dialogue, it is the same exact word. Like,
pretty cool.
He had to have so much fun doing that. And I don't think they could have asked for a better actor either. I mean, the guy,
he's perfect,
he's tall. He towers over Rick. I mean, and he's funny, and he is the charismatic bad guy,
Well, speaking of Rick, though, that adds a lot to Negan's character when you see Rick and he's looking around at the Saviors.
Oh, yeah, and he feels completely powerless.
Yeah.
You just see it come over him where he's like, I can't do anything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the few times, or maybe, I'm trying, off the top of my head, I can't think of any time that Rick's really been really vulnerable like that other than when he woke up in the hospital bed.
Yeah,
and he didn't know. Yeah, and he
even
didn't
in Terminus, he was just saying, like, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
I mean, like Rick Grimes, man. Anybody who can grow a beard like that, this guy's hardcore. And for Negan just to come up and make him look like a
wimp.
Yeah, wimp. It's just, I mean, what do you like? Negan is an amazing character, and I really hope though. Part of me really wants it to be Daryl, but
really.
But
they were all our female fans.
Well, that went a lot of male fans too, and that's what gets me. My thing is though, if you can't accept the fact that Daryl Dixon can die on The Walking Dead, then you are not watching The Walking Dead for what The Walking Dead is supposed to be. You are just a fan of Norman Reedus, and that makes you a fanboy, which is okay. Daryl is really cool, but at a certain point, it's just, I hate when shows just pander for those numbers.
Oh yeah.
And they don't stay true to themselves. And Daryl is the biggest character that could cause the biggest impact on the entire fan base that could just actually make people sad.
Really good.
Now, like, people were upset about Glenn, kinda. But the comic book fan base has already been through that. They're like, we're good. We're ready for this. We know what's up. Like, we went through this once. So it's all right. But I mean...
The entire time I watched that episode, I was scared so bad through the whole entire episode because I knew what was going to happen. I just didn't know when they was going to throw it. I figured it was going to be at the very end.
Yeah,
it had to be at the very end. But I was like, man, when are they going to start it though? Because it was just everywhere, and I was nervous the whole. I felt sick at the end. Like I was glad. I was relieved that they didn't show who it was.
I can just remember sitting there like just my jaw dropped, and I'm just sitting there watching him beat it in first person point of view, and I'm just like. And all of a sudden, he's like, you hear him say, now originally I thought he said he's taking it like a champ, but he doesn't say, he says, took it like, you're taking it like a champ or something. Yeah, he doesn't put a gender to it. Oh, so for the longest time, I denied that it could be any woman. Yeah. But we do know that Rick and Carl are safe because he says, if the boy makes a noise, rip out his eye and feed it to his father. Right. So we know Rick and Carl are safe.
What if somebody makes a noise? Did they cut Rick and Carl's eyes out?
I mean, I guess. But, I mean, at that point, we know that those two are safe. Right. And to be honest, I mean, if you kill off Rick Grimes, you might be able to kill Carl off, but, I mean, if you kill off Rick Grimes and don't keep at least the other one, you don't have a show.
That's true. Who's that? Aaron. I feel like Aaron's safe because he's not really that main of a character.
I mean, he wouldn't even make that big of an impact. If I mean, like, who would care? Like, you would have, don't get me wrong, like, you would have every homophobe ever in the whole country going, yeah, Negan! Beat him! Daggone, man. That's wrong.
All right, hang on. I'm going to get the time on this. I definitely have to censor that one out.
But I mean, I mean, it's
Sorry, I
it's
can't
all good.
laugh at that
You
one.
can cut that whole thing if you want to.
No, I'll leave it.
But I mean, Aaron's a cool character and all, but he won't make an
He won't
impact.
it won't make an impact.
Like Aaron, I mean, if they did that, I would just be like, that was a huge letdown.
Right.
I mean,
Honestly, they might be scared to do that because he is gay.
I mean, yeah, they could. I mean, but see, that's crazy. Like, everyone's getting offended. Which, I mean, actually, what I'm really curious about is whether or not they're going to make Paul, a.k.a. Jesus, gay.
I don't know.
That was a shocker in the comic, and he's actually one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was interesting because, like, you know, how everybody's, like, trying to, like, I feel like a lot of companies like Marvel and DC, I feel like they're trying to force a lot of ethnicities and different sexualities. Right. But, I mean, in The Walking Dead, that stuff isn't forced. It's just fluid. Yeah. And it seems right. Mm-hmm. So, like, stuff like that in The Walking Dead, I think, is actually really cool because then they can let anybody read in it. You know, they have characters they can relate to. Right. And, like, I thought Jesus was just an absolutely great character, and I hope they keep him around in the show. Like,
me too.
He's, like, if I had to put a D&D role to him, ninja.
He would be a ninja.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome.
Like, the things he does in the show doesn't even make sense. Like, how's he doing that?
Yeah. I mean, he does. I mean, in the comics, he's just blam, just ripping zombies' heads off and stuff. Like, he's just, you know, like he just showed up with, you know, a can of whoop ass.
Ass is fine.
Oh, man, you're going to have fun going back through all this.
I've made notes of everything. You've only said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things I have to bleep out.
Every time I'm on here, we need to keep a count and see what the record is.
We should. I might have missed. I don't think I missed any. I'm pretty good at catching it, I think.
But anyways, I think we need to move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that was our episode for the Weekly Loot. You can catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, anywhere you can listen to a podcast. We're pretty much there. We'll be on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitter at The Weekly Loot and Facebook.com/The Weekly Loot. And no, we're not on that website.
Just so you guys know, if you're still listening, I wrote down a very famous website on a piece of paper, hoping that Anthony would read it, and he chose not to.
At first, I thought you were writing down pork chop, but it wasn't pork chop.
No, I would like to say, if there's a comic section, isn't there?
Comments, yes.
Yeah. If you can guess the comments, we will try to think of a way to reward you if you can think of the site that I wrote down.
I'll give you the piece of paper that he wrote it down on.
Yeah, we will mail you the piece of paper we have right in front of us if you can guess the website I wrote down on it.
It even has all the times where you've said a cuss word. Hey, we gotta get monetized. Sorry. Okay, but you guys can check us out next week. Don't have any plans yet. We're waiting for Matt to get back. We're gonna discuss what we're gonna do. You actually won't be here next week.
No, I won't be back for probably about 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, you guys can catch him back in 3 weeks. We'll see you guys later.